Okay.
Literally just got home because I was dropping the dogs off at the groomers. So,
Oh, you do that with your dogs?
well, with the golden retriever, he's got a lot of hair.
Oh, okay.
We try to de-shed him, but sometimes he just needs to be trimmed up.
That doesn't freak him out? No.
Yeah.
My dog is going to the vet today, incidentally. Anyway, but it
Huh?
doesn't. My dog's going to the vet today, and it really freaks him out. So I'm interested in dogs that don't get freaked out. But like, does he like going?
So Charlie was like, "Hey, I'm here," but the other dog, Clark, he's a Rottie mix, and he was, poor thing. He was like shaking, and I'm like, "You're
Oh,
gonna be fine.
poor
You're dropping
baby.
your kids off at school." So,
Oh. So
but
you have to go pick them up like in a couple hours? Does it take?
they said 3 or 4 hours, but with a golden man, it takes forever for them to dry. So, and
Wow. How often do you do that with them? Like, is it?
mm, I mean, we have our own trimmers, so I try to maintain it, but if it needs reshaping because I messed it up, like I would say every 3 or 4 months.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So
Do you bathe them frequently, like at home, or
yeah,
do you have, okay.
yeah, we bathe them at home.
Is that easy to do? Or do your dogs like that?
They're big. They're big dogs, so either we bring them into the shower or we take them outside. It's not like we can put them in a sink
Well, yeah.
and yeah, that doesn't work.
No, no. My dog does not like any of the things that involve touching him or like the vet. We took him a couple weeks ago to get all his boosters and heartworm and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
we brought him to the vet, and because of the COVID, they had to have us just let them take him into the vet, and we waited outside. And then it came back out a few minutes later, and they said, "Yeah, we need to do a do-over. He's a little nervous because he just is so scared of his alert level is really high all the time, and if it's not us, he thinks he's protecting us, I guess." And we don't know what happened before we got him. We got him from another family who'd found him on the side of the road. So it's like,
Okay.
so we have to give him medicine before he goes to the vet, so he's not so freaked out.
Like an anti-anxiety kind of thing.
He has to take
Zyrtec
two.
or
It's
something.
a trazodone and gabapentin. I don't know. So we have to
So
give it to him the night before and then 2 hours before he goes. And then he still barks at them, but he doesn't try to kill. He's not even that big of a dog. I think he's a Rottie mix too, like he looks like
yeah.
it, but he's so nervous all the time.
Yeah.
He's very special. And that's what his name is, Doug. Oh,
Sorry.
bless you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, have I told you about Doug? Our dog, Doug.
Um, well, I remember seeing one of your dogs in a video that you sent me on Marco Polo, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
you called him something, I forgot.
I think I called him Dougie or Douglas Fir. I call him Douglas Fir a lot. Sometimes I call him Frederick Douglas Fir if I'm really mad at him. Like he likes to take our socks and our dish towels. Like he chewed on everything is like when he was smaller, but now those are the only things he takes that he shouldn't. And so I call him Frederick Douglas Fir when he's done that. And then he does the ear slick back thing and he's like, "I'm sorry. I like your socks. They're so gross." All the grossest stuff, like our feet, like socks and the nasty dish towels. Like, it's all the grossest smells, but he loves it. So he's special. So you're like, okay.
Okay.
So we has been doing school. Have your kids been doing online stuff? This just
Yeah.
only online?
Yeah. It's like virtual, I think, for the first 9 weeks for Jack, which is basically the first semester. And for first semester for Jada, and then I think they're going to reevaluate.
How is it going? Like with
So Jack does school up with his dad, where he lives. During the school week, he's with his dad. So they're more hands-on on that front. I check in on him, obviously, see how he's doing, and he had like a rock project, and that was due. Sounds like it's going okay. For Jada, I'm very thankful that her teacher seems really on point and quickly responds, and it just definitely feels like she did the planning, did the training, because it's been pretty seamless. I'm like, wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Because with her, how old is she now? Is she
second grade? So 7. She's 7.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's so much harder at that age too. Like that's still because Cameron just turned 8 and he's still like very, very wiggly and just not ready to sit still yet. And that's so much harder when they're little. But I feel like I don't know how they do it with her, but they give him like breaks. They'll say, okay, go take a break and run around outside. And then they'll have him do like jumping jacks and just stuff like that to break it up. So I think it helps.
It's only like 2 hours. And
oh, really?
2-hour Zoom class. And then they have a half-hour like centers encore class. And then they get like a little 5-minute break in there. And yeah. And then the rest of the afternoon, we tend to let her have a longer lunch break, and then we start her schoolwork later in the afternoon. Whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know, but she gets it done. So
she's pretty shy, isn't she?
Yeah.
Is it easier for her, you think, doing it online at all?
I think she's doing well, actually, but I did ask her if she misses being in school, and she said yes. She'd rather be with meet her teacher and be in the classroom.
That's so good that even though she's shy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's very special. I can't believe that she's 7. That means Jack's not that far behind Zoe,
10.
Right?
He's
10.
I know.
Goodness. I don't like to think about it, but it's like that. I'm more than halfway done with Zoe, and it's like, whoa. I mean, you're never done. Like, I still talk to my mom. I guess that's important to remember.
Yeah.
Like, I totally still talk to my mom, and I totally rely on her for stuff too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I think she likes it. Like my mom, you probably know, is a caretaker, and she likes to take care of people and do things for everybody. And I think she kind of likes having that purpose still.
Yeah.
All for people. So I wanted to ask you if you ever learned about Gnostic stuff or like Gnosticism when you did your like time at seminary. Where did you go to seminary? Like I know, but then I can't think of it.
I feel bad. The Union Presbyterian Seminary.
Okay.
Like it's like out of my mind now. Like it's so far in the rear view mirror. Like, oh crap. I don't remember. I don't know. So I mean it wasn't a bad experience. I probably wasn't the best of students. So anywho.
How long did you go there for?
What, I want to say a year and a half ish. 2. Yeah, something like that. I forgot. Like I know I finished a year. I want to say a year and a half.
Did you like it at all? Like did you have any revelations that were like, oh, I wish I'd known that, or now I get it?
Yeah, definitely. It was when I was interning at Montreat. Like the Presbyterian camp program out in North Carolina outside of Asheville. And I loved it out there in Black Mountain, and everybody was really nice. But like what I realized out there was because I've always been terrible at school as far as like on the academic side. Like it was always hard for me to concentrate and how to I don't know, I'm more of a creative and whatever. And so, but being there really helps me kind of understand, the personality A and personality B, and, just try to set some goals and learning from the girl or young woman I was working with in this internship. She was kind of like opposite in her work ethic than I was, but I'm thankful for it at the same time because I feel like I learned some, like whether she knew it or not, I kind of tried to emulate some of what she did as far as being more prepared and planning and kind of thing. So now I've found that, I try to be more intentional about my approach to things than I used to. So
kind of mindfulness, would you even say? Like being more mindful of like why you're doing things
and it was never that I wasn't mindful. It was more like I actually had like tasks. Like I would set up goals and tasks, and it's just like, okay, this is the docket for the day, or these are the goals I want to meet. And like, I never really approached stuff like that before. It's just like,
Were you setting the goals for yourself, or was it stuff that like fit within the curriculum? Or
well, yeah, I mean, like a little bit of both, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. It just gave me more structure, I guess is the best way to say it. So
yeah. Do you think that doing that there helped you figure it out at all in the doing your own business thing? Like as far as
I definitely felt like I became more organized. I was all about, desktop planners and, calendars and things like that. And it's like, plotting out what's coming up. Like if you looked at me in middle school and high school, like I wouldn't even know what day it was or whatever. It's like, oh, I have a quiz this week. What?
Yes.
So
that's so much like Eric. Eric was like, I didn't know. I just did dioramas for everything. I didn't care, which is so weird because I cared so much and it didn't really matter that much. I mean, it does for some people, but I don't know. I have such a different perspective on all of that now, parenting and all. And it's like school isn't designed for everybody, I don't think. Like maybe it worked well for me to learn sitting and listening to people talk at me and taking notes. I like it. But I think that it works for like 5% of the population to learn in that fashion. Everyone else is totally different. And it's like, oh, learning that intelligence isn't just what's on a test score. And then learning that the tests are made by the people who sell the textbooks who are making the money off. It's just this whole follow the money thing. It's like, oh, well, I don't know anything at all, which is a little refreshing and a little like, oh, well, now I don't know what to do. Okay. But yeah, anyway, like I wish that I had not stressed so much during that time, but it probably has its value somewhere. But yeah, I feel like I was like a shitty person a lot of times, and I'm sorry. I was doing like what my parents like wanted me to do, and it was just the perspective I had from there. And really, for our parents' generation, it was like you go to college or you don't get a job, because I think that's how they grew up. Like the only way people got jobs was if you had a college degree, and it's just different now. And it's probably going to be the same stuff.
And yeah.
And it's like we still have conflicts, but we're not like coming out of World War II like we were then, and really recovering as a global economy, which I mean we are in a totally different way now. But the connectivity we have now makes it so different too. Just like you had to wait until you got a telegram, and then they had party lines on the phone, and you had snail mail. It's just you can know everything right now. Don't you miss not knowing stuff? I kind of miss that. Who was that actor in that movie? And then you can just look it up now. But like back then, you'd wait for like 3 weeks and be like, that's who it was. Yes. And it felt so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I Googled it. That's who. All right. Anyway, you know.
Instant gratification right there.
Yes.
Instant access.
There's totally something to that struggle and that getting through it. Anyway.
Yeah. What was it? We were talking about, Jerry and I, about even driving around, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I said, do you remember when we didn't have Google Maps? And he's like, well, I mean, you could always like look it up on MapQuest and print it out. I was like, no, like before MapQuest.
That. Like before everyone had internet, period.
Yeah, it's like we had, I mean, like my glove compartment, and I used to always have an actual hard copy of the maps in my glove compartment.
I had the state and the city, yeah.
Yeah, and just in case. And anyways, like hopefully they're teaching our kids how to read maps, you know. Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't do it as much as I should with Zoe, but like when we went out to like the family lake house, it was like, here, this is where we are on the map, and like we look at it and talk about it, because if we lose our phones, I feel like we're all going to be screwed. And I want her to have some sort of skill set there. And there's just an art to it, kind of like the art of developing film, you know, in a dark room and printing the pictures and doing it like that versus having it all just digitally right there. I mean, I'm sure it makes it easier, but there's some art to that. Or like the art of just, you know, writing with your hand versus typing or dictating on a computer. I don't know what the actual tangible value of that is, but it feels like it's something, you know? Like it's that creativity in action. I don't know. Organic. So I can't even think of the word for it.
Yeah.
But you get it, right? You understand? You get it, right?
I get what you're saying.
Do you remember? Like, I totally had a map this day too. When we were in downtown San Antonio, and I got so lost. Like back in high school, we drove somewhere downtown. I don't remember where. And you were in your car, and I was in my parents' car. And then we left the place, and then I got lost somehow, and I think you were but I just drove around downtown for hours, and I was like crying because I couldn't figure out just how to get on the highway and go home. And then at one point I saw you and you were going this way, and you don't remember this?
No, like I remember like calling my parents at one point. I don't know if it was the same day, but I remember calling them and I'm like, I'm in downtown and I'm lost. And like, I must have given them a panic attack. And they're like, well, what street are you in? Like, they're like, don't get out of your car. Just, you know, drive to the nearest intersection. Tell me what street signs you see. And I was like, okay.
Did you have a cell phone?
No. I think I had to stop somewhere. This is before cell phone.
Yeah, that's why I remember it, because I had to, somehow I made it back. We were seeing Mark play somewhere. Okay. And then I made it back there just like accidentally. And his parents were like, oh my God, I can't believe you even found us, but you couldn't find the highway. I was like, I know. But I drove past you at one point. Like you were probably going the right way and I was going the wrong way. And I was like,
I had the red Toyota.
Yes, Toyota. And I was like, Jenny, oh my God, I don't know how to find you so you can help me. I was lost for like another hour. And then I got home and my parents yelled at me. They were like, why were you out so late? Like, I was lost. I was singing like hymns to myself in the car because I thought it was the end. I was like, I'm never going to find my house again. It was just downtown San Antonio. And I had a map, but I was freaked out. I can't believe you don't remember that. That's so funny. I mean, a lot has happened since then and filled your brain that you've needed to use that space for, I'm sure. But it was so traumatic for me. And then when I saw you in your car, I was like, no.
I remember going to one of his late night, sessions. It was an outdoor session.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, I guess, was there. He was a drummer, or maybe he was the drummer. I remember he's like, I'll give her 2 more years and then she'll blossom. Like, that stuck in my mind. I was like, really, dude? You're an ass. Sorry.
Was he talking about you?
Yes. I was like, okay.
I bet you that was John Alexander. He was kind of a jerk. I think he was mad at the world because people always said that he looked like Hootie.
Who?
Was that him? That he looked like Hootie? Did he look like Hootie or Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish? That guy?
Oh, no, not at all.
Not at all?
No,
Oh.
no, no.
Are you thinking of a gig with Jake? Was it that drummer?
Maybe it was Jake. Yeah, because the
Because he
guy
had
I
a.
was thinking of, he was white.
Okay. That was probably his drummer then. That guy was also a big crappy. Like, I'm sorry. He said a lot of things that were not very nice. And my impression of him back then was like, you're a dick, which he might be lovely now. But he was older. If it's the same guy, he was like much
Yes, he was
older. Yeah. But then Jake and Justin and all the other guys were in high school, but like their drummer was in college and he just hung out with the high school guys.
yeah.
And at first he seemed really cool, but then you kind of realize this is weird that you're in your 20s.
You need to keep some of those thoughts in your head. Why would you say that? I don't know. I don't think he thought about it. Right?
I think he was a little bit shorter too. And I think like it's going to sound silly maybe, but I really do wonder about the plight of men in society because they're expected to be so, you don't cry, you act like this, you're manly and you're tough and you're strong. And if you're a shorter, not super manly, beefy guy, then that maybe doesn't work for you. And there are emotional guys out there, but they're expected not to be emotional and to be the breadwinners and to take care of everything. And, that's like, I, of course, care about women's plight, but I feel like I don't want the things to swing so far in the other way that we're like, I hate you men and we're going to beat you for all the times you were awful to us. So maybe he had some of that. Like, he's a little guy and he was feeling insecure. It doesn't make it okay, but I just like to understand people because if I get where they're coming from, then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's less annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's so funny. It's so weird, like how you remember that thing that really stuck with you.
Well, I remember the night because it was a beautiful night. And it was like, oh man, like when I think of Texas, like I think of all those times when we were out listening to bluegrass and just Americana. And it was just, too bad we couldn't drink at that time because that
It
was
was so
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
So,
we
I mean,
drink. Heads up, mom and dad.
they might already know. I'm not sure.
We didn't. We drank a lot of coffee at good old Jim's, but
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. When I, at Jim's, do you remember the one that had those guys that were twins?
yes.
There were a couple of guys that waited tables at the gyms we went to for like forever. And then I joined the Navy and then I got out of the Navy and then I was a civilian working for the Navy for years. And then I got stationed on the Nevada. And then a guy on the Nevada goes, "Hey, you're from Texas?" Because I had a Texas thing on my hard hat.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Me too. Where are you from?" "San Antonio." "Oh my God, me too." And he went to Taft and I went to, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And he went to that gyms all the time and he was a waiter there. He didn't know Brad because he wasn't a band guy, but he knew the waiters at gyms, the guys that were twins,
Oh, yeah.
because he had hung out at that gyms all the time too. I was like, whoa, that's such a crazy small world.
Yeah. One of my friends, he went to UTSA the same time I did. Of course, it's a huge campus, but I was like, hey.
That's pretty cool. Is it someone you know now?
You're like, that's not as impactful of a statement, but you're gonna have to do better.
Just as soon as you said UTSA, I'm like painting the picture. I'm like, yes, I remember UTSA. It is a big campus. I'm
huge now. I mean, I don't know when's the last time you drove down to San Antonio. Like even going downhill to go to UIW, I was like, where am I? This place is so different now.
Like the area out in Helotes, because that's where Eric's parents live, like really close to where the Adobe Walls residence that your parents had. It's like a city. Like before it was rural. Oh, we're kind of out in the country now. Now it's just all developed. It's really weird. It doesn't feel like the same place.
I remember going out to your friend's house out there in Helotes before there was like, I think we may have had a McDonald's at that point, or just the Dollar General, and that was it. And that little, I don't know. I mean,
there was nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
I remember them putting in a gas station at like 1604 and something, and it was very exciting. Like, oh, there's a gas station. I stopped there a lot to get the really big soda.
I will say, like, y'all's grocery stores, HEB, it's like, move over, Walmart, because, like, y'all have, like, everything. You have, like, a tortilla station, like, making station. Oh, my God, I wish we had that here. It's like a shopping mall.
I do love the HEB, like, so much. We have one, like, 5 minutes from our house. And the tortillas, too. Like, you don't get these tortillas anywhere else like they are here. I love them so.
I miss the pumpkin empanadas. Oh my God.
The pumpkin empanadas from HEB?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't
You
think
go in
I
the bakery station. If you go to the bakery area and they, you know, you can, well, I don't know how it is now with pandemic, but it used to be, you can get like a little tissue paper and then like grab your pumpkin empanadas.
Yeah.
And, oh my God.
They still do that, but they have them all individually packaged already, which is like, it's good. And then I'm like, but the plastic. Like, but I get it. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, plastic.
It's how much do you think they actually recycle and reuse? Out of all the plastic that comes in to our recycling centers.
I haven't followed up on the figure, but I watched a documentary series recently that said it was less than 10% actually gets recycled. Yeah. It was a documentary series with Zac Efron, really, of all people. My little sister told me that I should watch it and that I'd like it, and I was like, I don't know. It's too into Zac Efron. But, I mean, the first couple episodes, I was like, he was kind of just being a little silly about everything, like, what? Because he's traveling around the world, seeing what other countries are doing about climate change, like for alternative energy. And the first couple of places he goes, he's just being kind of like, I'm a goofy frat guy. I'm twirling my mustache. Yeah. Oh, what? This is so crazy. But then as the series progresses, like, he starts to really be affected by it seems, and goes out like picking up trash and just really, I don't know, his friend's house burns down too while they're there, and so it really touches them personally. And I love seeing people change like that, because I believe in that for everybody, and I believe it's possible. And if Zac Efron can transform into a meaningful human, not that he's a terrible, but just growing up in Hollywood.
Yeah, I was like, nothing against you, Zac.
No. I think he's great. I'm
thinking of him as an activist, or I guess a face of, climate, awareness and change. That's I wouldn't have put the two together.
Yeah, I don't know if you could say that he's like, you could put himself as an activist for it, but I think he's at the place where he traveled around enough outside of Hollywood to see, whoa, this is what's really going on in the world. I had no idea. Okay. And like, now I think he wants to do something to make a difference and is figuring it out, and did this documentary series, and I don't know where he'll go from there. But he started off going, I love Hollywood. Hollywood's the best. And a few episodes in, he's like, I don't know about Hollywood. And the last one, he was like, I really have to get out of Hollywood. It's just not right. It's not cool. The world needs help other places. I'm like, that's so good.
I think two people that they should do documentaries about are, and don't laugh, but like Miley Cyrus, and like, cause she's very like into animal rights and PETA, which is actually headquarters here in Norfolk.
Really?
Just over from me. Mm-hmm.
Huh. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I assumed they were in LA, just because it seems like a very LA kind of thing. That's very cool. Well, the whole liberal side of it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I like Miley Cyrus. I didn't used to, but I saw her on Joe Rogan, and I haven't finished the episode, but just the first bit of it, it was like, whoa, you're like a real grown-up person who has some wisdom now.
Yeah.
You just struck me as a very, okay, yeah. She seems pretty awesome. Why do you like her?
Oh no, just
because of that stuff about her
style choices compared to everything that's thrown at her, in Hollywood, and it just seems like there's a raw real part of her that
Yeah.
none of us get to see. Or so I mean that would be an interesting documentary along with and I forgot her name. What's the name of Hermione, the actress? Emily Watson. My
Oh.
husband.
Oh, hi, husband.
You want to say hi?
Oh, now I get to say hi after
Oh,
like
right.
3.
Now he gets to.
And I always hear you say hi to her husband.
I do. Hi, Eric. I didn't say hi today.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Wah, wah,
Good.
wah.
It's been a while.
It's been quite a while. It's nice to see you there. You're still working from home and staying safe and all that, yeah?
Yes, I have to deal with her.
That's probably how Eric feels, except Eric doesn't have a job right now. Well, we're building the business, which we just incorporated yesterday. But
Oh,
so it's
cool.
like he gets to deal with me and try to do that and try to make all the food because I don't cook. So he
So
could
what?
probably empathize.
So what all of is entailed?
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
I was saying, I just
Fingers.
feel bad. Like, oh, so what was entailed
Oh,
in?
no. What all did you have to do? Set up and stuff.
Well, we want to do like a food truck park as the beginning of it, but I think I told you about it before. I want it to be like a community that is like the church community I grew up with, but that isn't just limited to a particular, like that's open to everybody, not necessarily religious based. So we're starting because we need to start making money to do just a food truck. And so we formed an LLC and we filed all the paperwork and did the last of it yesterday. So we have our LLC and it's registered with the state of Texas. And it's like, yay,
Yay!
coming together. It's scary, but it's exciting now that that's happened because it feels like there's a real thing. Like we have a piece of paper that's like,
Yeah.
yes, we did this. Because you had to do that too, right? You did an LLC.
No, I'm a sole proprietor. I actually need to get on the
Oh.
ball and get an LLC so somebody can't take all my assets.
So that they could with the sole proprietorship. You're still
Yeah,
under it.
I was
Okay.
like, I'm beans compared to some businesses that are rocking out like numerous clients and with a lot of income so I'm not that. So I was like, well, I'll start off small, but it's definitely something I need to do. So
Yeah. It wouldn't have occurred to me to separate them at all until we got into this venture because I just figured, well, if you're in the business, then you're in the business. I didn't know you could even legally do something to keep you safe. And that's been interesting to learn all of the paperwork, loophole typey stuff. Like we were filling out the paperwork yesterday and we have to list like members of the LLC and their addresses, but there's like this fine print that says don't put your personal address because then people can send business mail and stuff like that to where you live. And it's like, oh, I guess we have to go get a PO box. So there's a learning as we go. Did you hire somebody to help you do that stuff, or did you, when you were setting up your sole proprietorship?
No, I just went with what the county and the state required for, fictitious name for your business or,
Yeah.
whatever. And then obviously with sales and use tax out here and la-di-da. And that's basically what I've done. But I mean, like, because I don't make enough right now or have, because I mean, like, honestly, this is relatively new. Even though I've been doing, my business has been open since 2018. It's always been a side gig. It wasn't.
Oh, that's not that long though.
Yeah, which isn't long, but it wasn't until recently that I really tried to get out there. So, I mean, because my numbers are low enough, I don't have to report my taxes, sales and use taxes, but every quarter. So, instead of every month.
Is the paperwork to do all the tax stuff a giant pain in the butt? Or at this point, do you feel like you know what you're doing? I'm scared of that part. Huh?
No, I mean, there's still a lot of things I'm still figuring out and stuff. So I've always done, digital files, And it's not until recently that I started doing print. But I mean, even with my digital files, I was faxing, so I'd have to report that. But now, like offering prints, it's just, anywho, it can be overwhelming if you find a good bookkeeper or CPA who can kind of, guide you through it. It's always helpful. So
we are hoping to find those people.
I know. I actually got one of those QuickBooks manuals, like how to set up your business on QuickBooks. So you can follow your income and expenses and stuff, and how to, make target goals for every quarter or whatever. So I'm not very good at that.
So overwhelming to me.
It is very overwhelming.
Yeah? Okay, it's not just me.
Yeah, no. But I mean, like, I went through all that just to create a business plan for me, just so I kind of know the reality of, if I'm going to have a business, this is what I need to make in order to keep my business. So I'm not really hitting my goals quite yet. So it'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a pandemic. So
yeah, that too. Like, it's so crazy for the first time in forever. So much is happening to people completely outside of anything that we can do.
Yeah.
So when I start to, like, I'll have days, I don't know if you've just being cooped up in the house, I think so much. Like, we try to get out when we can, but like yesterday, I just felt terrible. Just like, oh, I'm stuck, because every day starts to feel like Groundhog Day, and Zoe's bored every day. And like, I know you're bored. Why don't you try calling a friend? She's like, I call him all the time. Go in the yard. Our yard is small and Doug poops in it. I'm like, I know. It just starts to be like, what? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like, I need for something to give. So I kind of want people to get out to work. I'm like, let's just go back to life. But then one of Zoe's friends' parents had a coworker test positive for COVID like a few days ago. They're all asymptomatic right now, and they're fine, but they're quarantining again and saying, hey, we've been exposed, so be careful. And it had started to feel like, at least from our little perspective, like, okay, people are going back to work, there's traffic on the road again, the world is coming back to life. But then, like, that happens, and then we got a text a couple weeks ago that was like from the city of Austin that said, hey, stay home, there's a pandemic, don't leave your house. There's like all these cars and traffic and people out doing stuff. So
y'all are one of the states, right, that like number of cases has gone up again.
Super proud. It's because Texas, we pushed so early. I was not a part of that decision, but they pushed so early to get everybody back out to work. And then see, the ballet where I was playing, they had shut down, and then Texas was like, open. So they opened up with like limited classes. And now they're shut indefinitely because of it going back up. So like, if they had just kept it locked down, I feel like then we might be better. But I don't know. It's all so crazy. I feel like, who is running this country? Oh. It's too frustrating, I know. I wasn't even going to bring it up. That's why I was like, I'm going to talk to Jenny today about narcissism and other things that have nothing to do with this.
No, it is definitely frustrating, because there's a lot of mixed messages out there, and you hear your scientists saying one thing, you hear stuff from DC saying another, and that's, God, it's really frustrating. And just every time you hear something from someone, I don't know, everybody's kind of undermining the other, and it's just like, dude, stop, give a crap about, like, we the people. And stop the bickering. Come on, guys, let's grow up.
Right. So. It's so maddening to see them just yell at each other, versus let's have a conversation, which is why I would like to facilitate more conversationing. But I wonder what their lives look like when they go home. Like, do they yell at their family like that and stuff? I don't know. It seems like at a point it would be impossible to separate how you you can't keep your lives separate forever. Like if you're kind of a jerk at work, you can't go home and be this wonderful person. Like eventually you're going to have stuff mixed in together,
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they're all just very unhappy. I feel like Donald Trump is very miserable. He has to be. I don't know if you heard this. This is probably BS news, but I like it so much. So I'm going to tell you I heard it anyway. But he has someone talk to him at night when he's going to sleep because he can't be alone with his own thoughts. That might be crazy. But there's crazier stuff I've heard that's turned out to be true too. So it's like if I had that much money and I felt bad, if I had someone be like, hey, I could do that for you for this much. I could come talk to you and tell you you're great whenever. Be like, yeah, why not?
He does have an ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I understood, like, what's going on in your life. You must feel very small. Because I can't wrap my head around it, Like, I saw this guy, Daryl, what's his last name? Daryl Evans. He's a jazz musician, but he's known mostly for, and he's African American, it's important to the story. He's known mostly for connecting with people in the KKK and then having them reform and leave the KKK.
Interesting.
It is very, very interesting. And he'll go and he'll meet somebody who's just blatantly racist with just no obvious reason behind it. But then when he talks to them and they connect over music, then he finds out that, like, well, this person doesn't like anybody who's not white because they lived in an all-white town. And then all of a sudden people came in and they were taking the jobs. And from their perception, these other immigrants were getting jobs and they were taking less money. So then they're out of a job and now their family's going to be homeless and their family can't eat. And it's so much easier just to have a thing out there to blame, and it's like, well, this isn't my fault. It's those people's fault who came in and took our jobs and ruined our town and our family. And so I get the economic strife and why without further education and understanding, you would think that. But how is Donald Trump and these people in government not run into something like that at this point in their lives,
As
far as like talking to someone and getting some understanding behind, like, oh, okay, I understand now. You're racist because you don't understand, like, Mexican people or Black people. We're just trying to do our thing too. We're just like you. Yes, we came here and we got these jobs and we took less money, but we came from this and it really sucked and we're just like, let's work together. It's just amazing that he can be, almost 80 and still not have a more balanced perspective.
Yeah. I don't know much about the Donald the person. I know that what is it? One of the podcasts I listened to, they were referencing one of the famous not photojournalists, but journalists. Just his name is Woodward. I guess he came out with a book.
Bob Woodward?
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently he interviewed with Trump. Trump said like a bunch of stuff, and on the record. That I don't know if you ever listen to Pod Save America. That's interesting.
Pod Save America? Ooh.
Pod Save America. That's interesting.
Write that down or something.
Yeah. Although I do try to listen to many things. I try to get a full spectrum, and I haven't listened to Mark Levin lately, just because I just haven't. But I used to listen to him. Mark Levin. He used to work for the Reagan administration, but now he's on Fox News quite a bit. But he's the great one, as they call him. He gives you historical context, yada, yada, yada. It makes really good arguments for the side of conservative views. I haven't listened to him recently, though. I've been listening more to like stuff like NPR's Code Switch, Pod Save America, and just kind of gaining more understanding on that, I guess, side of the aisle too. So
that's super awesome. Like, I wish everybody did that, because then doesn't it help you feel a little better? Like, it's at least to understand where maybe it doesn't make you feel better. Maybe it makes you feel really
It does. Yeah, it does. I feel like there's a little more empathy and compassion there by being able to listen to both. But
Yeah.
sometimes when you realize people who are suffering, it's just like, oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know if that's really a good idea anymore. As far as, let's push on with how we're going, screw all the other people.
Yeah, kind of like Operation Iraqi Freedom. Like, there might be WMDs, bomb them all. It's like, whoa, innocent people. Like, let's
and
not
it's
that
just,
exact thing, but yeah.
It's like, I don't know, guys. I think y'all need to take a big breather because
maybe they should all have to volunteer, like for a service organization, like a certain number of hours every month. Like, why don't you guys go feed homeless people? Like, really connect with the people. I know they do that for like the press events, like, hello, I'm here. Yes, proud to be an American. And they just show up and then they leave. Yeah. But like, really get into it. I don't think they'll do that. I wish that would happen. Have you ever listened to anything about the flat earthers, the flat earth believers? I listened to a documentary about it because I was like, I really want to get where they're coming from. Like, I want to see behind this and how you believe it. And it was so flying in the face of what I observe and see to be very obviously true, and I still don't get it.
Isn't it something like everything we've been taught is a lie? Something like it's not round, it's just like disc.
It's a flat disc.
Yeah, it's like a flat disc.
I don't want to laugh at them because people are passionate about this and they really believe it. And I think we have been lied to a lot. So I think it comes from the whole, I'm not going to trust anything I hear at all. But what was weird about the documentary is you're not allowed to be a part of their organization if you have above a certain level of education. So like, you could say, I believe in flat earth. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to study so I can learn about it and how to prove it. But then once you've gone to so much school, they're like, we don't want you in our organization anymore. And it seems like a real, I don't know, kind of intentional self-limiting thing to not let, it seems like actively fighting the truth, really.
Huh.
And I don't know.
I know. I don't know too much about it. I like fell through a rabbit hole. Like,
really?
This is when I was on Twitter and then I like had to cancel it because I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, hashtag Agartha. And I'm like, it's like, oh my God, there's Nazis in the middle of the earth. And so I was like, what? Anyways,
how crazy would it be if that turns out to be the weird thing that's right? You're like, oh, not that I think that. I like it.
It's like, what? The Nazis found the entrance to Middle Earth? What?
Middle Earth? Are we going back to Mordor to destroy the ring?
No, I mean, like, seriously, look it up, Agartha. And
I haven't looked that far into that one.
And it's like, there's an entry point at the North Pole. I feel so funny talking about this, but it was like really entertaining. Yeah, something like there's an entry point through the North Pole. It's like the northernmost point of the globe, and there's like a hole apparently. And this is like a no-fly zone. Nobody is allowed to fly over this thing. And apparently there was like, back in history, I don't know what year it was, but when the early days of planes and stuff, and anywho, maybe World War II era, perhaps, and a pilot had flown there, but like it was almost like I don't know, I think at one point it was like gravitational pull. He was in a place where everything was kind of like diffused lighting. You didn't see a bright sun or anything, but it was just diffused lighting. And these tall white people came and or saucers came and
that sounds more like an alien story than.
I know, it's really, seriously, look it up. It's really interesting. But apparently this pilot left. Yeah, this pilot left and like went on the record to say this place exists.
Agartha is the name of the place?
Agartha, Agartha. I
Wacky.
know, it's really strange. I mean, like out of all the kind of legends out there, that's one of them that I had never heard about. And thank you, Twitter, for letting me spend hours just falling down that rabbit hole.
I'll learn about this Agartha thing.
Like a literal hole is what I fell into. So it's like,
wow.
yeah.
See, so that's a lot. That's our country. It's a lot of people. Well, it's like, gosh, how do you connect to that? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess do you like pie? I like pie. Cool. We'll hang out and talk about pie. You know? I mean, it's interesting. It's just like if you live there, it feels like you start to feel unhealthy at a point. And do you think it just comes out of the whole, there's so many conspiracies out there, like who killed JFK? Like, there was one shooter. No, it wasn't possible. There was someone on the grassy knoll. No, there were several. It was the government that did it. And then the moon landing, is it fake? Is it real? And the alien story, it's like, I mean, even now in the COVID thing, I don't know what to believe. But then it's like, there's some things that you can observe, in your own life that it feels like to believe that you'd have to be actively going, no, I can't hear it. No, no.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
It's like, don't fight it. Just let it all out.
Coughing? Ranting. I'm gonna be like, well, I had to go to the dentist just a few days ago, and I sat in the bathroom trying to whistle because this whole side of my mouth wouldn't move, and it made me laugh.
You drool. That would have been hilarious.
I did several times. I thought I was okay, and I went to take a drink, and it was awful. So I would drink with a napkin. Then I found a straw. That was better.
That would have been better.
It was. Like, I have those metal reusable straws. I have like 8 of them, and I was just trying to, like Kramer when he goes to the dentist. You know that episode of Seinfeld? And then he gets invited to this dinner because they think he's mentally handicapped.
Oh no, I don't remember that one.
It's so funny. Oh, it's really funny. I know it sounds like in this cultural climate very offensive, but it's Seinfeld. It all whips into the story in a pretty tasteful way. He's Jewish. He can get away with it, right? I don't know. It's all right. My dad's a preacher. Yours too. We're good. We're in.
Oh no.
Okay. Go back to the loving place. I just don't understand. I don't understand the flat earth. It's so, I mean, I get it because you look out there and you're like, yeah, it looks flat. Okay. But there are other things, like the pictures, the SpaceX. Did you watch the SpaceX launch when they did that, like, way at the beginning of the pandemic? It was the first manned space flight.
Yeah, we did watch it. Well, I remember having it on. I think I was like also doing other stuff, but I did see it come back and land.
You're like, oh, okay. I was very wrapped up in it. I watched the whole thing and the countdown. I was like, oh. Because it felt really good to see humanity, even if it's like, we should probably fix Earth, I feel like, before we go find somewhere else to live. But, exploring school. But it was just cool to see humanity coming together and building something as a team and going, yeah, we did it.
Elon Musk is an interesting fellow. I think he has like his dwelling is actually underground, isn't it?
I think so.
He's like Bruce Wayne. He's got like a bat cave.
He is Bruce Wayne, isn't he? I hadn't thought about that yet, but he totally does. And he's kind of worried about AI, which makes me nervous because he's really.
I did watch that Joe Rogan one.
Oh, you did?
I did. I was like, wow, this guy's fascinating. Is he an alien?
He seems a little like an alien, doesn't he? Like, he seems not quite human. He's very interesting.
But although I'm sure he was just being, funny, silly. He was like, yes, I am. But like,
probably. Like, he's probably being silly, but he's definitely very different from like me, most of the people I know.
Wicked smart. It's crazy.
He is. You know, it's really is my IQ is the 2 points higher than his based on the measuring. So he's got something else going on. Like, I'm a neurotic mess. He's got something in touch and like lined up somehow. Like, because he's got all these projects that he's just into and just like bam, 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 bam. He's got that Boring Company. Do you know about that one?
The what?
The Boring Company.
Boring.
It's one of Elon Musk's company. Yeah, because he's boring holes in the ground to drill.
Boring. Okay, I was like,
Okay.
snooze fest. Boring. like, like, what are you talking about?
I think that's why he called it that, because he's like, the Boring Company. That's funny. But we're gonna drill holes in the ground. But it's to put a subway system in Los Angeles.
In Los
Okay,
Angeles.
so you have heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. That was on the interview, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And he talks about the flamethrowers too, how they made.
Yes.
Which is awesome. It's like he loves Spaceballs. So even if he's an alien, he's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think about aliens?
I would not doubt that they actually exist if they're, I mean, like, honestly, like, I'm sure some asteroid or some bit of stardust with some microorganism has already landed in our oceans. So, like, the possibility of aliens, dude, they're probably already here, just not in the way we think of them, like gray little people. Could be as microscopic as, just, yeah, we got to think outside the box.
I kind of think they could even be something that we don't necessarily perceive. I know that sounds a little wacky, but if you think about the bandwidth of light that we can see with our eyes and like how much we can hear with, like, we only perceive a slice of stuff. So what's going on that I don't even
and stuff is it's like a sliver compared to
it's. And then when you think about like me and my sisters, excuse me. I'm really trying not to cough all the time. I had a Triscuit earlier and I feel like I inhaled a piece with the delicious Triscuit crackers.
You were really hungry. You're like, that should be your sponsor right there. You're all like, Triscuit.
Have some. Anyway, you're saying?
I like Triscuits.
I do too. They're not sponsoring me. I'm just hoping they will. So we're going to talk about them.
They are good. They're the best. They're the party snack that every household should have.
They are. And look, you can top them with anything you want. There's no rules with Triscuits. You be a real American and eat a Triscuit. Flat earthers and non-flat earthers can all agree on one thing. Triscuit. Come on, Donald Trump, have a Triscuit. If I'd known there were delicious Triscuit crackers in the car, I would have enjoyed them with you. Oh. Okay.
But we digress to what you were saying. We were talking about
the aliens. Oh yes, and that like just me and my sisters, like, and my older sister especially, because we're just 2 years apart. It's like, cool, our life experiences should be very similar, but it's like, no, not at all. She remembers things that I don't remember, and they're like just totally, her life experience was so different from mine. And it's like, but you were just right there. So like, if we don't see eye to eye on so many things, then what? Like, we're all getting such a small bit of, like I will remember something that happened very clearly, and she's like, that never happened. She did drink a lot in high school, so that might be it. Sorry, that was. She stopped drinking now.
Cut that part out.
But I don't want to edit anything. I don't want to. But just
moving on.
Moving on. We all have very different perspectives based on where we stand. And we're so, stop it. I'm trying to move on. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
aliens. I can't think about anything else. Okay, the aliens in the perspective and my sister. Hello. It's one of those things where I'm like, she's never gonna listen to this, but watch like a couple years from now, she's gonna be like, dude, or she'll be mad at me but won't tell me because she's also passive aggressive. Why not? Just keep chucking her under the bus. And you know what else? She's got weird toenails. That's just not, I made that up. Sorry. She might. I don't know. I don't look at her toenails. My little sister has weird toes, but she knows that.
I think I remember
Like,
that, actually.
Her toes?
Yeah, I think I think I do remember that. Maybe.
She has her toes, they're like stair steps. The first two are like in line, and then they go way down, and like that third toe is real small, and the fourth one's a little bigger. They're all mixed up, kind of. You should look at them the next time you see her, whatever that is. I'll get a picture somehow. I don't know.
One of these days I'll get back to Texas. Don't worry.
You should at least visit. I mean, it sucks when it's really, really hot, but like right now, it's pretty decent. I don't mind it. I miss Washington though. Like I don't think I'll ever go back and live there, but just the mountains, you know? Like you've seen the mountains out there.
Do you have friends out there? I mean, have they been experiencing all the, the smoke and everything?
No, I do have friends. No, my friends that were out there have all moved now. Like, because most of the people I knew were in the Navy.
Yeah.
Or like through the Navy, and they've all like one got stationed in Pearl Harbor, and then some others went to Virginia. Oh, like and up in New York. So I don't know anyone personally there from the fires, but I saw the Seattle football game, and the sky looked beautiful. Like I don't know if that meant that the fires. I don't watch the news because it just bums me out.
Yeah.
I knew that was going on, and it looked like it had cleared up, and I hoped it meant that things were subsiding, but I don't know. Is it still really bad? Oh, I'm a terrible human.
You know what? They haven't even really been covering it, so I assume I haven't followed up either.
Weird.
I'm gonna look it up.
Wow. I see that stuff like that really makes me feel like, so you're just giving me the highlights of whatever's awful, but you're not going to tell me when it's all good, which is the part that I want to hear, because that's the best part. It's like you're dropping the movie right before the big resolution. It's the conflict moment. We got to see it come back together. This is my resolution.
Like I literally put it on Google, fires in California, and it came up with Los Angeles Times, California fire threatens cannabis farms worth millions.
Not the cannabis. We're still hoping to get it in the Texas. Not the cannabis. We're still hoping to get it in the Texas. If they burn it all down there, is that good for cannabis or bad? Probably not good.
I don't know. So it doesn't look like it's like a day ago. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't see it. It's just too light. Oh, global warming driving California.
Yeah, these are
13
like
hours ago.
14 hours ago, a day ago. So
Did it say something about tornadoes down there? Or did I just see that wrong? I thought I saw tornado, which seemed weird.
California fire tornadoes had winds of up to 125 miles per hour. Wow. That was 21 hours ago that they posted that. That's Washington Post.
Wacky.
That is crazy.
Do you follow like the Post regularly, or what is do you have a go-to news source, or do you just try to listen all around?
Yeah, I just go to Google News, and then I'm like usually my flow is pop on Google News, read up on any articles that pop up, on the news feed from different sources. And then, if I have time, I'll just watch CNN or something like that. And
do you watch a lot of news? Like what is
it's when until it gets overwhelming, then I stop. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. So recently I've been watching the news because I don't know, just everything going on, Ginsburg, passing.
Yeah. Oh, but she was so old, and she definitely did her time. But I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I was sad about that.
I don't know. What do you think about like lifetime appointments?
I don't like it.
I think it's a long time.
It's a really, it's a weird thing to have when the presidency is limited and senator terms, and for the reason of keeping things growing and fresh and different and moving. It's really weird that we've kept this one part, but no, you're there for life. And the part where a president, how the appointments work, I don't even know how they work, because I thought Obama was going to get an appointment and they did something to screw him, and now it's weird. Just like you just get to pick your buddy.
Yeah.
That Brett Kavanaugh guy. I did love the SNL bits that they did about the Brett Kavanaugh guy.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't? This was like a long time ago. He was the guy with all the drinking stuff.
Yeah. No, I knew who. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't watch the SNL?
Yeah, I didn't watch the SNL.
That's where I get my news from. I'm like, they're making, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Because then at least it's still funny. It's terrible.
I think they're actually coming up with their the next whatever SNL episode, and Chris Rock is going to be hosting.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are they doing it in the studio? Or do you know?
Don't know. I think so. I don't know. I saw it somewhere.
Weird.
A commercial, maybe? Who knows?
Okay. Because they did a few episodes live at home, they were pretty funny. Like some of them were way funnier than the live show. It was just like one person in their house who'd written a little sketch. They were pretty funny. So I thought they would just do that. See, that's so weird. I'm like, but my daughter's friends are testing positive still. But life's going on. It's so weird. But that's fun.
Yeah.
I like that show.
Yeah.
I miss, every time I watch it, I think of doing skits at the ranch and John Knox, and just that was the best night. The skit night was always the most fun.
Skit night.
I totally want to do skit night at our little hippie trailer commune thing. Trailer, no, food truck, not trailer, not a trailer park. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just to be clear, food truck is what I meant by trailer. This is the
Jack and I did a little skit. We did the arm thing. So I was I had my arms behind me, and he threaded his, arms through mine. And I think it was a makeup tutorial. A lot of influencers, here's how you apply makeup. So it was pretty hilarious. I didn't post it. I don't even know if I still have it, honestly. But,
oh gosh.
But it was really funny. We had a good laugh.
Those are funny. The arm thing. I have pictures right over there of doing that with Brad Hindling.
Oh, Brad.
Have you talked to Brad? Brad, our good friend from high school.
I know. He was the third part of our. Yeah, he was He was
it's
the
so weird.
brother that we.
I found him on Facebook a couple of years ago, and I sent him a friend request thing, and then I never heard from him. So I was all right, whatever.
Maybe we should just friend request him again until he says.
Be like, Brad, don't act like you don't know us.
I know.
Don't act like you weren't there. Just send him. I can send him pictures I have too, of back when he was River Britannica boy with his Encyclopedia Britannica glasses.
Oh my goodness, we would go over to his house. Oh my goodness, I think hold on.
Maggie is hearing a beeping. She's going to see what the beeping is. I hope that her beeping is something. Oh, she's got a Christmas cactus and a very cool lamp. I have nothing against flat earthers or anybody I've been talking about. And if I've offended anybody, I'm very sorry. Now you all know that. Oh, you're back.
Sorry, something was beeping, and anyways.
Now it stopped.
It stopped. I forgot to plug in. So it was beeping to say I'm out of power.
Oh, see? They're already enslaving us.
I know.
It's hey, do this. Hello. Fix me. Fix me. Fix me.
It is interesting, the whole minimal movement, right?
I would love to be a minimalist.
Yeah, how our stuff enslaves us.
I feel when I look out in our garage, it's not like my mom's garage where it was just floor to ceiling. And to her credit, she's done a lot of work on it, and it's not like that now. But it was floor to ceiling, just boxes of stuff. You have like a path to go through. It's not that, but there's this whole wall of boxes on the side from when we moved in like 2 years ago that we just never unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at it, I feel this full body, like, I can't do it. I can't do it. This overwhelming thing. And then I just leave it until it stays that way. But I feel very, very much enslaved to this stuff. And then like when I would go to John Knox, like at camp, away from this stuff, and you just have this stuff, then you can go do the other things because this is all of your stuff right here.
Yeah.
I like that so much better. But then when I look at it, it's like, but this is something that was my dad's. This was something that was Zoe's when she was little. I get very, very attached to things. And I know that that's not healthy. But it's like, then I'm worried about COVID and like starting the business. And it's like, well, the stuff becomes secondary, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Are you trying to minimize and do that?
I mean, I've kind of been on that journey for a while. Obviously, we have things, but I mean, like, I try to be good about not acquiring too much but sometimes I give in, especially like with my kids. They're like, oh, the shiny new toy. It's just like, well, you have a lot of toys already. Is there something, And so we started, swapping out toys. So we would like store stuff in a bin, and then they'd forget about it, and they'd have the other half of their toys they get to play with, whatever. And then once the novelty ran out, we would switch them back out. But now it's kind of, you look in her room now, it's just like a bomb exploded in her room. So, and I get very anxious when, like, okay, I will show you our house right now.
Oh, yay!
Jada was currently working on some Amazon boxes. This is the cat hotel. So, yeah, she's decorated it. It's really cute, actually.
Aww.
She's decorated it, and there's like, well, obviously it's a little, it's a little.
Is the cat hotel under construction still? Is it in progress?
It is. It hasn't passed.
Not up to code.
Yeah, it's not up to code. It's not structurally sound yet. We're working on it. But I mean, like things like this, like when I had to like turn off that beeping noise, I'm like, oh shit, I have to walk around this stuff. But like I know it's important to her. Stuff. It's like, sometimes you just, if it brings joy to her, great.
Yes.
And after
it's like the culture we live in too. I can't be like, no, you can't have any of the things. And I remember being a kid and wanting stuff, and it's like I want her to be happy.
Yeah.
I know I'm so bad about stuff. I do try to be better, but I give in to Zoe definitely way too easy.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
They are.
You're like, I just want you to have all of the things that you want forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
I do. Her room and like everything that she kept up until probably 2 months ago was like a bomb went off all the time. And I just had to not be in her room because it became this uphill battle that I didn't want to fight. And I was like, well, it's your space. We have certain expectations. Like, if you spill something, you need to clean it up. You can't just leave it there because that has happened. Like, don't leave food in your room. Like, don't take food in your room, stuff like that. But other than that, it's like, that's your space. So however you want to keep it, you need to keep it that way. And now, because now she's almost 13, I think something in her just went like, oh, this kind of sucks. And now her room is like great all the time. It just was overnight. It was awesome. And now she just keeps it clean. And then she really wanted to decorate it. And so she hung up all her posters and all this anime stuff. And it looks really good now. So I'm like, sweet.
Awesome.
I'm glad that worked for you.
Yeah.
I hope that happens in other areas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like I feel like I only have so much I can do. It's like she's so her own person, and she's very headstrong, very determined. It's like,
yeah,
I can only do. I mean, obviously, I don't just let her go out drinking and do crazy things like that. But it's like I'm not going to force her to like eat all of her dinner anymore. It's more like, you're going to be hungry if you don't finish it,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
want her to learn how to make those kinds of difficult choices here while she's still safe versus
Yeah.
out there when she goes to college, like me, and then blows her
Yeah.
scholarship.
Oh yeah, I was like, Jack, come here. You're gonna learn how to do laundry, and I mean, he's 10. He knows how to make mac and cheese. He knows how to load the dishwasher and take out the trash and even mow the yard.
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, I'm just so you know, I'm not like, he's not child labor or anything. It's just like, here's some chores that you can do. We had some lists of, different chores that he could do to earn an allowance. And so, but his tricky thing is he's like, I just cleaned my room. I think that's $1. And I'm like, oh no, you just get paid once a week. So
Ah.
he's like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, I mean, just there's something we have the method of whatever you own, half of it is actually yours. The other half will go into savings or piggy bank.
Oh, the money. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you want like a new game and it costs this much, just double the amount of how much you have to earn because, yeah. So, anyways, we're trying to teach them all that. But anywho, so the lawn mowing and everything, and so I was like, you're gonna learn how to do laundry, how to separate it, and how to do that. Because I remember in high school, it's like, Mom, my uniform's still dirty, and what a brat I was. Jeez, oh my God. So
How was the system you were in? I know what you mean. I was the
it's
same way. I don't
so
think I learned to do laundry till like later in high school,
yeah, I think I was
probably.
like 17 maybe when my mom's like first like said, okay, if you have dirty laundry, then maybe you need to learn how to do laundry. It's like, man, I should have learned this a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I mean, in laundry, yeah, at 10, that's good. The mowing the lawn, I feel scared to let either of our kids do.
yeah.
Just because, well, Zoe's kind of good. She's good now. She'd probably be fine with it. But like, Kevin is still so, I mean, he's only 8. It's probably too soon. Because
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Every child's different, and what they're capable of for sure. We usually have Jada just pick weeds out of the flower beds and pick up all the sticks before her brother like does the yard.
oh, well, that's good. So she's still involved in a
Yeah.
way. Like, we've wanted to get a chore like allowance system going for our kids for forever, but we're just, well, at least before, we were always worn out from working because, I mean, everybody is. This is just my
Yeah.
excuse. So it's still fun. And I never learned how to manage money, like ever. I'm not
Yeah.
good with it. It's the thing I would rather not deal with, really, which is probably terrible because I do appreciate what it does for me and I see that it has value and all that, but it's just, I've never been motivated to do things because of the money. It's always been like, oh, I like this and it feels good. Now I want to do that. And
Yeah.
so, and my parents, I don't know, did your parents teach you budgeting and like do that allowance stuff? Because my parents kind of did.
Um,
Or is this all stuff you put
did.
together?
I mean, like I know I had chores and things like that that I was supposed to do, but I feel like a lot of that came later. Like when we finally moved to America, we no longer had a nanny, and
Oh, you had a nanny.
yeah. So because dad was a preacher, mom was a nurse, and I'm sure the reasons why they had a nanny. I think I asked my mom about that, and she said, well, it was affordable at the time, and I think because of their schedules, work schedules, they needed somebody to help out.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah,
I had a nanny too, now that I think about it. Like, I only had her till I was like 2, but we lived in Arkansas, and her name was Lulabelle, and I loved her. But I think it was just very affordable. And my mom, like, my dad had just taken on a new job, or no, he was like rebuilding a church that was about to close down. So he was really busy. And then she was starting a school at the church. So she was just busy, and she had me and my older sister who were little. And so Lula Bell was, I mean, yeah, it was way more affordable back then. Like there weren't any background checks or anything like that. It was just, I know you, watch my kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you remember your nannies or anything like that?
Yeah, we had one in the Philippines, and then we had one when we were stationed in Spain, and another one when we were stationed in Germany. In fact, the one we were stationed in Germany with, she came with us to America because she had met a man, and during our time in Germany, and they were going to get married. We brought her to America because he was a serviceman in one of the armed services. And so, like, it's like, okay, well, y'all sort yourselves out. And so.
So did she just came over with you, but she didn't live with you guys? Or did she live with you?
She did live with us. She was a live-in nanny. Same with the one in Spain. I don't know about the one in the Philippines, but she was, the name was Nikki. And I remember if I was ever bad, she would threaten to make me pigeon pie and eat it.
Oh, like actual.
Obviously, she was joking, but I cooked it. I was like, oh, no.
Weird one.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Not the pigeon.
Yeah, she was great.
I keep thinking of the things that your mom said. I hope you remember this one, but she told me, I think when you guys lived in Spain, she said, oh, Jennifer, she used to always eat breakfast at our house and then run to the neighbors and say she was hungry, and then she'd eat another breakfast. Do you remember that?
No, but I do remember her saying that I was a sack of rice because I guess I had fallen. We lived in an apartment then. And I had fallen out of bed, and the neighbors down below us were like, what happened? We heard this loud noise. And that's when they said, oh, that was Jennifer. She fell out of her bed like a sack of rice.
Oh. So you were a sack of rice?
It was just a sack of rice. It's like,
didn't even try to resist it. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It was awesome.
That's awesome. I loved your mom telling that story. Because she was like, oh, the neighbors thought we didn't feed her. Like, oh, that's awesome. These people over in Spain, and they're like, those Americans don't feed their adopted children. They're horrible.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, your mom. You saw your mom the other day, right?
I did. Yeah, I took her to the doctor's appointment last week. Yeah.
Is she doing good stuff? Or
so she
hanging in there as good as it can be?
Yeah, they just tweaked some of her meds, and then but she did get another UTI infection, so they're getting her through that with antibiotics. So
is she able to like do stuff within her community now, or is she?
So yeah, I think they're starting to loosen up a bit. Like so long as I think they do COVID tests every week. So that way, for 3 weeks they have to be COVID free, and then they can lift restrictions.
The up the nose test, that thing?
Yeah. I did it yesterday. It's so uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt. It's just super uncomfortable. The second time I've done it, so it's not fun.
Goodness. See, that's what I hear everybody has, but then the thing way up the nose, but then there's a clinic here in Kyle that just goes right in the inside of your nostril.
I would love that.
I wonder if it's an effective test, because I always hear that you're supposed to really jam it up like in your brain. I don't think it really goes in your brain. Maybe it does. I don't know. But
no, it's definitely, it just goes into a really like sensitive part of your nasal cavity, and it's just, yeah.
Like the strep test, but for your nose.
Yeah. Is
it that kind of uncomfortable? Like, because
it's that kind of uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt. It's just very uncomfortable, like a pap smear.
I feel like oh, goody. That made it so much better. I remember showing Mark Holgeen a tampon one time. It was hilarious. You just made me think of that. It was him and probably Dwayne. Both of them are dead. That's so weird.
Oh,
Isn't that weird?
no, that is crazy.
But I didn't like. Not that I don't care. We could talk. But the tampon thing, they were so weird. Like they found one like in my bag or like some other girl's bag, or it fell out, and they were like, oh, and we thought they were being funny, going, whoa, what is this? But then we realized, I think they really don't know. So we opened it up and we were like, this is how it works. And then they were like, oh, whoa, really? And then you push this and they're like, oh my God. And then the exciting part was when we put it on the ground and we like poured some liquid on it and it puffed up. They were so amazed. It was like we just done a card trick and we were like, is this your tampon? They're like, it is. Oh my God. So awesome.
Oh, boys.
This really made me
need them in school. Come on.
I know. Like we got something.
Yeah, I know.
Because they were in school too. Well, they never paid attention. They skipped class all the time. But just like, wow, you guys really know that little? And Mark had sisters. Like he had 2 sisters.
Yeah.
Like they had tampons in their house. It was like, you have no idea, really?
Yeah.
It was very interesting. Yeah, I saw his parents at his memorial service, and like they had gotten divorced. I was like, no. They were fine. They were like, no, we're good. We're friends. We hang out. You know, we're just didn't work out. They're like, we've been divorced for years, and I'm already crying over Mark. And then I was like, no. I was the mess. I was the mess at the funeral. The whole church had left, and it was just his body in the thing because it was just surreal, you know. And they had to wait to close the church because I just wouldn't leave.
I can't
imagine. It was so weird. I mean, because I didn't see my dad when he had passed away, so there's still a degree of closure that's kind of missing, I think. And even though I've lost him and I've lost all of my grandparents now, the really seeing it and being like, that's
Wait, all of your grandparents are gone now?
all of them, yeah.
Really?
My mom's mom passed away like less than a year after my dad. It was like my dad died right before Christmas, and then my grandmother died on Thanksgiving, the following Thanksgiving, and then my grandfather passed away like
on mom's side, the one in Austin?
Yeah.
I remember going to his house. He'd always have his Longhorn stuff on and just, like waiting for the tower to light up after they win a football game. It's like, shoot, I didn't know that they sorry.
Oh, thank you. It's been a few years now. I guess like when I've talked to you, I just haven't talked about that because there's been other stuff.
No. Man, I can like remember them pretty vividly.
I'm so glad you do, because it's like Zoe met them both. She remembers my grandfather. She was like 4 when he died, but she was like 6 months old when my grandmother died. So, and then she met my dad's parents, but she was like 3 months old also.
Okay.
But it's like Eric never met them, even though we knew each other in high school. Like he didn't meet them, but that's funny. Everyone remembers the Longhorn thing about my grandfather. They're like, he loved Longhorns, but yes, he did.
Yes, so yes.
But that was totally the thing. That's another reason I really want to make like a community here, is because I feel like my mom's dad was a really, really big part of their church, the Westminster Presbyterian Church here. And then my mom's mom was the choir director for like a long, long time. And then, you know, my dad with the churches, I want to give that to the community and be like, hey, you know, this was important to my grandfather, and kind of, you know, not really make it for him, but just sort of to carry on the tradition. Because like they came here from Sweden, and like he was a self-made man that like worked his way by raising cattle. Like that's how he worked his way through college, and he had his cattle ranch.
Like these are like interesting facts that I'm now learning. It's like I didn't know the background was Sweden. Like I knew Scottish.
That's my dad's side,
Dad's side. Oh, that's
interesting. My dad's side is all Scottish. It's my mom's side. Her dad is all Swedish, and then her mom was German, and then like English, French. We know German for sure. And I think
Yeah.
she told people that she was French, but we're not real sure about the other stuff. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. He was, I wish that I could have talked to him more because he was the president of the Geophysical Society of Exxon, which is apparently a big deal. And I remember him having a really big retirement party. And then they would always bring us back little trinkets from like Russia and like China and all the places they traveled. But, as a kid, I was like, oh, cool, a gift from grandma. But later in life, I'm like, whoa, you traveled. He met the king of Denmark. And like he went to high tea at China where they were the guests of honor. And, when they would drink, everyone else drank too because it was, I guess,
Oh, wow.
polite thing to do, just to do whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just a really cool life that, I don't know. It's like, man, he did so much. And I'm like sitting in my house every day. I mean, there is a pandemic, but there's a bit of a desire to make something not for them, but just, to remember them, I guess.
That's awesome. That is really cool.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh. No, that really is. I mean, like as far as family history and having, all that. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's.
My parents were always so private about their family and
really.
History. I mean, like the only time I felt like my dad talked about growing up or his parents were in his sermons. So.
Oh, okay.
And my mom, I mean, they just didn't really talk about it. Not that they didn't love them. I'm sure they did. It just, I don't know. I don't remember, sitting around hearing stories about their youth and growing up and what their parents were like or grandparents were like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would know if I hadn't like asked my grandfather pretty directly a few years before he died, just because I put it together like, oh, like I might not have a lot of opportunities to ask him this stuff. But like as a kid, it wasn't on my mind,
Yeah.
Maybe, and I don't know, your parents were obviously very busy. And then we were obviously driving them crazy and drove my dad crazy. But I feel like,
Yeah, they were very good sports to, if anything, we were able to entertain ourselves and have fun and giggles. And I think that to them, that was probably just a joy for them to hear that we were enjoying our youth. So
I think overall, yes, definitely. I'm sure we drove them crazy in a lot of moments. I know that we did. Just like Zoe is with her friends, but when you hear them laughing and just like really having fun, you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I do. My dad did say that like before he died. He was like that he loved hearing us laugh and be together. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, okay. So it wasn't all awful for you guys.
Yeah, I felt like that was one thing he charged me to continue is the laughter between you and
Aww.
I. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Our dad. Those bastards. I get mad sometimes. I'm like, like just in a random time, like watching a movie and seeing like someone go on an adventure. Like there's a guy that has a thing where he's traveling with his father and they're really funny together. And I just was enjoying the whole of it. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I'll never get to do that with my dad. And then I'm kind of mad at him and then it's silly because I'm not really mad at him for having his dad, but like it's not fair.
I think there's a Jared commercial out there, and Jared Jewelry.
The diamonds, yeah.
And it's like this beautiful couple, and he's like, I got the ring, and he like kneels down, and it's just all romantic. It's like, oh, that's sweet. But that's not everybody's story, Jared. Come on. Jeez. Get with it.
Everybody even gets married. Like, yeah. Not every, and then, when I learned all this crap about the diamond industry, it's like, oh gosh, I don't even want that now. I mean, not that there's something wrong with it, but I don't know. Have you read into the diamond and how De Beers like cornered the market and drove the
Yeah, so
price
they,
up? And
what was it like? He bought like I forgot who it was, bought that huge land in South Africa. Yeah,
I think
and
it was the De Beers
yeah.
company because they did the
Well,
whole.
and Tiffany, yeah, because I watched a documentary about Tiffany's,
Oh,
and they had bought like acreage of land down in South Africa.
so that way they just own anything that comes out of the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah,
That's
like
so crazy.
yeah,
It's like, wow, materialism.
yeah,
Because then when you think about the people who are working in the mines and like, are they getting treated fairly? Like, is their life quality? I don't know. I don't feel super great about buying stuff like that, anymore. Not that I go out and buy diamonds all the time.
well, that's why I was talking about Emily Watson,
Oh,
because
right.
she, like, to circle back on that,
Yes.
she is all about labor behind the label, kind of, and that's actually a company or profit or nonprofit
Is it
is
like her nonprofit?
no, but I think
Okay.
she might have referenced it before. But anyways, yeah, just kind of peeling back the layers to see, yeah, everything looks great in a nice shopping mall or window display, but let's peel that back and see what's actually behind all that. So,
Yeah. That's important because we're so disconnected from like life. Like for our kids, like we've talked to them, we've planted stuff and grown it, but when we need stuff, we get food from the grocery store. It's like,
yeah,
well, where does that food come from? What's happening behind that? Because there's a huge story that goes on between, the diamond and the thing, or the factory and your iPhone in your hand. And
yeah.
it's just, there's so much going on out there that I want to fix. And I just,
Yeah, I feel,
oh,
yeah, it feels pretty overwhelming when you think
yeah.
about just all the things that we've done to contribute to, you know, climate change by how we shop, or to human trafficking by how we shop.
Oh,
So as the consumers, like, yeah, and I'm guilty of it. But I mean, as long as you have that in your mind to make better choices,
yeah.
yeah. But
But
it's hard at the same time because if I see something and it says made in Bangladesh, it's like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't buy this particular uh,
yeah, like
clothing.
Zoe will find something online that's like, look at this Halloween costume. It's so cheap. Like, but it's made like in China and it's going to take forever to ship here. Like, think about who made that and, are they getting compensated fairly if I'm only spending $5 on an entire costume? Like, is that fair? And it just feels like it's not enough. Like, I would like to do more, you know?
Yeah,
But then I don't think it's all up to me. I think it's up to everybody making their own better choices.
yeah.
But then you have people believing in flat Earth. If they're believing in flat Earth, are they going to use reusable bags? I don't know. They might not.
I have reusable bags. They worked for the strawberries and stuff like that. It's like, oh, nice, just kind of. But then we stopped using them because,
We had to because of the COVID. Like, was that a thing? They just didn't let people bring in outside bags anymore.
yeah, no, yeah, I don't know if our stores did, but I mean, like, as far as like having them and yeah,
It's very difficult when we have like the machine of our lives rolling to be like, now I'm going to do it all different. Like, I can't just throw away this car that I'm driving. Like, it still takes gas. Like, I
yeah,
would love to not drive my car, 20, well, I don't right now, but when I was like 20, 25 minutes to get to work and then back because of the pollution, there has to be a better way or something I could do right here. But it's like, but we have to make money and pay the bills or we're on the street and then I'm not doing anything helpful. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You kind of feel stuck. So
But
I
I do,
wonder if there's any kind of legislation that could be passed to reform some of the, I don't know, policies that companies have to be more mindful of?
I think there are probably a lot of things they could totally do differently if they weren't so money is all that matters,
Yeah.
may never change. But in the government, they're all excited to spend the money. So everyone should just operate like the government. Be like, we're not worried about the cost, just whatever it takes to get the job done. If it takes an extra 10 hours, sweet, we get a bigger budget next year. But then that has a tax on the system in other ways. I don't know. There was, I ate vegan for a long time, and I still try to, just for my own personal sanity. Like, I'm not opposed to other people eating whatever they want. Just, make good choices. But I would bring my food to work every day, and I didn't know this was going on until I moved on from the job. But when I was leaving, this guy named Doug, incidentally, who was really large and overweight, said that he loved coming to see what I was eating every day because my food looked so much better than his, and it was vegan. And he was like, I couldn't believe you could eat anything other than just carrots, but you would have calzones and then all this other real food. And then my boss told me that she went shopping and would make different choices because of what I ate at work. She was like, I wonder if she would eat this. No, she would eat vegetables. And then I came back and saw both of them probably 2 years later, and I didn't recognize Doug. He was trim, 200 at least pounds trim. And he was like, it's because I saw you. He was like, I saw you making better choices. And then the lady, I saw her too, and she had not been overweight, but she just looked really good and really happy, and she'd gotten a promotion, and she was like, I made better choices because I watched you. So not to be like, yay me, but okay, I didn't bring that stuff to work to be like, look at me, I'm vegan.
That was your intention, no, but
yeah, it was just, I wanted something good to eat that was outside of, carrots and tofu. So I learned how to cook stuff, and then it just accidentally affected other people. So it's like, okay, maybe that happens more than you realize, and just no one talks about it because there's so much news and highlights and social media and phones and screens and stuff everywhere in your face. Yeah. But maybe it happens. I hope it does, because that's the only reason to really do anything differently, is if it ripples out there. It feels like if it's just about me, then it's not worth it,
Yeah.
I want for my life to be doing something more than just, I want to be happy. I want the world around me to be happy too. So I hope it affects positive change.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was cool. That's why I wish we had a gratitude network. If you have to pay a bill, it's real easy to go online and type in, I owe you this much money. But it's I owe you some gratitude. Hey, here's a gratitude thing. Because there are plenty of people who've affected my life like that I don't see or know anymore. And it would just be really cool.
So, you and I graduated in the same class, different high schools, but same class. And it was our 10-year, no, how long have we been out? 20 years? Yeah.
20, yeah.
It was our 20th year reunion. I didn't make it, but suddenly I start getting tagged and on a post, and one of my peers from middle school and high school was trying to identify the girl who was in band. She played a woodwind, and she was small, and perhaps she couldn't place my nationality, but she was like, all she did was say hi, and or something like that. And just, I didn't realize she was even going through a difficult time at that time, but apparently it made a difference. And just, I guess, feeling acknowledged, accepted, which was awesome to hear. It's all these years later, it's wow.
Yeah.
So that was kind of surprising. But it was oh, nice.
Because you were just being you.
Yeah.
Right? When you were saying hi.
Yeah, I would definitely see, if I saw somebody, sitting on the side, and not really a part of any group, or I would always say hello, or I would just kind of visit with them really quickly, just to, I don't know, that part of me, I feel like that was the case, naturally, I was inclined to do things like that because, well, one, that's kind of how my parents taught me, just to be inclusive, but also just being that kind of, that oddball in the family that didn't quite fit in, but I was definitely part of the family.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to make sure people felt included. So, but maybe I wasn't always successful at that because my brother and I were never really close. I wish we were, and even to this day, I mean, like, I can admit that, like, I should be better about, reaching out and going out to visit. And so I'm going out to visit this weekend, actually.
Oh, you
So,
are?
yeah,
Oh,
I was
that's
supposed to get
awesome.
last month, but then Mom had some stuff come up, and so I delayed it. So I'm going this weekend.
That's
So
super cool. Aren't they having a baby soon? Or they're
they had the baby in
Oh,
July.
they did.
They
Oh,
did.
that's awesome. What did they have?
A girl. So another girl. 2 girls.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yeah.
so crazy. Like your brother, the person he's become is so different from
Yeah,
the guy I remember growing up.
definitely. But I don't know, like anytime I talk to him, I feel like I don't know, just he's a very sensible person. He's very passionate. The same with his wife, and they're just very passionate people. And, I know that their hearts are in the right place to build a community. They are just a lot more active at doing it than other people are who are willing to sit on the sidelines. They seem like the people and are the people who like say, hey, let's get this going, let's call our
Oh,
congressman and blah blah blah. And they're part of a movement for change, and
man.
that's really inspiring, like
Yeah.
to see, and to see people like that. And
That's a
oh,
scary, scary thing for me to be like the person who goes, hey, let's go, to really be a leader, really, it sounds like.
yeah,
That's
but
pretty
they're
cool.
not even like, I don't even know if they would feel comfortable using the term leader. I
Which
feel like
true
they just don't.
leaders usually are like that.
Yeah, but they're just, they just, and I just kind of just watching them and seeing how they are as a couple, as a family. It's really inspiring.
That's
So
super cool. They have an acupuncture clinic, right?
they do Louisville Community Acupuncture, and it's cool because they have I don't know if they still have this model, but they're all about affordable healthcare, and so they have a sliding model for their clients, patrons, to work with them so they are able
That's
to
cool.
receive treatment. So,
That's awesome. Because I definitely know other people, like my sisters, who probably would try acupuncture, but it's like, well, my insurance doesn't cover it, but it does cover this, and this is really expensive. And that's like, I want those people who are doing that to make a living and to be paid really well. And I
yeah.
want everyone to get the healthcare. So that's awesome that they're doing that. That's very
Yeah.
cool. Seems like they would have worked very hard to make their business like profitable and be able to do that. Or they're just awesome people, maybe.
I
I mean,
think
definitely. I'm not saying maybe.
I mean, like, yeah, they're just, I mean, they share their knowledge and they are definitely willing to learn and listen. I think, yeah. So,
Oh, they're willing to learn and listen. Like maybe, I don't know, some of our other leaders in our larger community would
yeah,
do. Not
yeah.
directing it at you. Just wow. See, there are people who are doing things the right way. And
Yeah,
that's awesome. And what sucks is like your brother and his wife would probably be really good at affecting change in the government, but like that isn't what they would want to do. Like they wouldn't want to be president. Like, why would anyone want to be president?
oh, I don't think that's in their,
Huh?
I don't think that would be in their goal. I think their goal
Yeah.
is to be in the community, in the grassroots
Yeah.
level, and making a difference there.
Yeah.
I assume, I think
But
that's just just based on how they are, they want to keep in touch with,
Yeah.
with that.
And there's
not moving to the suburbs and getting the big house or anything like that.
I'm like, as I sit in my house in the suburbs.
I know, as I sit in my house in the suburbs, it's but I mean, they're really inspiring people. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I will be honest, not all the time we agree, and that's okay. I just, and sometimes I need to know where my boundaries are on what to talk about, not talk about, and so I don't trigger, and not that I mean to trigger anything, but so it's, it's good because,
It's so much trickier with family, I feel like if you disagree about stuff, because I don't mind. I like having a disagreeable conversation, not like disagreeable, but where we have a disagreement, because then it's like, okay,
yeah,
you're different and I want to learn more about you kind of thing. But when it's my family, there's this other dynamic kind of present, or it's just so much easier to get into it with my family, I feel like. I don't know if it's from old baggage or what, probably, but I don't think I'm the only person in the world like that has more issues with, because when I say that to some of Zoe's friends' parents that we're friends with, they're like, oh, well, it's family. Like that's the different ball of wax from you hanging out with us. Like, okay, it's not just me. It's just because my little sister's husband, he's really nice and he's super awesome. Yeah. He is not as negative on Trump as everyone else is. I don't think he's like, I love Trump, but he looks at the things that he has done that have been positive for the community. I want to say like I can't even remember what the specific thing was now. He had a great example that made me go, okay, well, I see how that's a positive thing. And now I don't remember it. But I wanted to have that conversation with him. But my whole family was like, no, we don't talk about that. No, none of that. And they all got all upset and everyone started talking about how they just hate everything in the government. I'm like, well, why don't we talk about what we could do differently, or at least hear him out? Because if we in this house can't talk about our differences, what chance does the larger picture have of doing that, Yeah. So I would love to talk to my brother-in-law about that. His name's Sam. We call him Uncle Sam because I'm like, hey, because it's Zoe's uncle.
Yeah. Uncle Sam. Cool. Awesome.
So weird that my little sister is like a grown-up and married.
She's still teaching?
The place that she was, she's doing like little kids, like daycare stuff, and they closed down for a while, but she's back, I think, full time now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I haven't talked to her in like a couple weeks, but the last time I talked to her, she'd just gone back to like full time, even though they don't have very many kids.
Okay.
Oh. She got really sick. Her and her husband both, but neither of them had COVID, but like she had fluid in her lungs, and it was like, oh my gosh. Holy cow. But she got tested, I think, twice, and might have been 3 times, and she didn't have it. So just managed to catch some other random obscure disease, I guess.
Yeah.
One time she got pink eye so bad, and she sent me a picture.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. I wish that I had it to show you. I wonder if I could have her resend it without being offensive, but I'd never seen pink eye like this before. It was like both of her eyes and they were almost shut, and she just had this kind of zombified. It was bad. She's fine now. It's from working in the daycare, I'm guessing, because like they're little kids, like not even a year old. Just fingers in the face. Pink eye. She's fine now, but feels like it's always something from the little kids and the germs. Yeah. At least her immune system's getting a good workout. I feel like to a degree that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Time for a delicious Triscuit? It might be. Have some Triscuit crackers.
Dude, what? If you got them to sponsor, I'm gonna go get a box of Triscuits.
See?
Slap on some like pimento cheese or something.
Sun-dried tomatoes. Little avocado on your Triscuit. Your woven cracker.
There you go.
The weaving of the cracker. Because it says it right here. Share the weave. See that? You see the
Aw.
share the weave?
Share the weave. How clever.
Thread and weave the wheat together. Not share. I like share the weave better. I want to weave. There was this whole thing about like, we hate white people with dreadlocks. I'm like, come on, really? I like dreadlocks. Everyone has their opinion and they all matter. But it's like, do we need to fight about everything?
I don't know enough about the argument to have a stance.
Think about Triscuits if you disagree with. I think it's like I think it's the cultural appropriation argument, which I get. But then there were dreadlocks like back in the day, like in Scotland and the kilts and stuff, because they were just nasty. Like I'm very proud to be Scottish and stuff, but if you think about living conditions, I can't imagine like even what 100 years ago, what living conditions like before the advent of the automobile when horse manure piled on the streets.
Like I think about it like for women especially, it's just like how did they get through their moon days, man? That was a hot mess.
No, like you couldn't talk about it, I'm sure. And then not being able to vote until whatever it happened. Yeah, like my grandmother definitely lived through that stuff. I don't remember when women got the right to vote. I'm a terrible feminist. But my grandmother, it might be related to the moon days thing, but she was institutionalized for both of my grandmothers were for a while. And I think my mom's mom was for drinking.
Okay.
And I don't know the whole story there, but I didn't find that out until after she died, but they like put her in a home, like a sanatorium.
Yeah.
I've seen, I've heard stories about how they used to run them, how crazy people, they were just all crazy, and then you lock them up and throw away the key and just kind of forget about them. Like, whoa, I can't believe she went through that. Like, I never heard about it.
Yeah.
It's wacky. So yeah, just like living through stuff like that. The access, I guess things are probably better in a lot of ways. We could still do better in a lot, but like at least in that regard, like for how we approach mental health, there's a more compassionate.
And mental health, I feel like, even though that's a work in progress, but at least sanitation has gotten better. And hygiene.
Yeah. Good for hygiene.
I just saw your thumb. And I was like,
freaky
like
thumb.
your normal thumb is like this, and I freak out Jack every time. It's just like, hey, good job.
This one is more than this one. I don't know why. Did both of yours do it a lot? Oh yeah, you got some good hitchhiking.
It's this way. No, this way.
My parents used to hitchhike places. Like, did your parents ever do that?
To hitchhike?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
My parents were hippies, apparently. Your parents were both active duty military, right? Like, they were both colonels and stuff.
Yeah. Mom was, she served with Project Hope in Colombia for a few years, though.
Oh.
So she got to meet Marlon Brando. In fact, he came to their home and sat down on their couch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think she was there detailed to just make sure he's, whatever, taken care of kind of thing. But
what was I know I've heard of Project Hope, but what is that? What is their mission? Or
well, for her, she was down there, as medical staff. I don't know what her job necessarily was. I don't know.
It was the Project Hope like about a hunger thing? Like, do you know?
I don't know what it is overall. I know her job was more on the medical side, maybe treating the community, or I'm not sure. Vaccinations, who knows? I don't know.
Interesting.
I have to ask her. You should call her. Oh my God, she'd freak out.
Really?
Yeah, she'd be like, Catherine, Oh,
Really?
here's trouble.
That's exactly what I know she would say. Oh no, it's you. She said that the last time I saw her at your dad's service. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. It wouldn't be right if you were like, oh, I'm so glad to see
Oh no, trouble.
you.
That's awesome.
Oh, gosh, I know I've heard of Project Hope. And I feel like I'm very ignorant for not knowing what that is and having to ask. I feel like it's an important thing.
I feel bad because it was my mom who was in it, and I barely know the story.
Well, I mean, when you live with your parents, you just are with them all the time. Do you need to go?
I think I do.
That's totally cool.
We have a little person who just woke up.
Aww.
She stayed up way too late last night.
Hi, Jada. I stayed up way too late, too. You look so pretty.
I know. She's in it. Oh my God.
I like your kitty condo that you're building. I saw it a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be so fun for the kitties. It makes me wish I was a kitty. Sometimes I do. They look like they're having so much fun. I just watch cat videos and laugh. I really do. It's one of my favorite things to do is Zoe.
Oh, I think
She's so adorable. She looks so much like you, and then I can see Jerry.
I was like,
yeah.
She looks like Jerry.
I totally see both of you.
Huh.
Yeah. What does everyone always say, Jerry?
Forever. I don't know. I haven't seen her in a while, so I'm sure she's like super tall now. She as tall as you now?
No, not yet. But she was saying yesterday, day before, she said, "Mom, I feel really tall." And I was like, okay. And I measured her, and she's grown like an inch in less than a month. She's going through a mega growth spurt. She's over 5 feet tall. She's probably 5'2", maybe.
Wow.
So, is she? Are you?
I'm 5 feet.
I see you back there.
She's like.
She's so cute. I don't want to make any big sudden movements to be scary, but I am very excited. Bye.
Well, do you want to say bye-bye?
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, so here's it. She wants me to show you really quick.
Oh, we get to see it? That's awesome. I didn't see that part. And your kitty's in there. Is that Milkshake?
Milkshake.
Oh my goodness.
The one with the doors? Where's the doors?
That's such an awesome kitty hotel.
Oh yeah, so there's
cool.
Access through there, and he can climb out. Where can he climb out? I don't know if I'm pointing this right. Oh yeah.
Oh, and he's got little. That's awesome.
It's called the Kitty Hotel.
I don't know if I'm pointing this right.
I can see it. Yeah. I see the kitty on the kitty hotel. And is this? That is an awesome kitty hotel. That's super. You're an awesome cat
for
owner.
providing hours of entertainment for my daughter.
The kitty hotel?
Yeah, with the boxes.
Do you put her in there? I'm just kidding.
With the Amazon boxes.
I know. I'm just being silly. I would totally probably crawl around in there when I was, because my kids, they'll still crawl around in boxes. Like Zoe's 12, and she'll still be like, could you still be with this box?
Yeah.
They're
I think
the
that's
funnest.
one of the magical parts of when you move and you have a bunch of boxes.
Yeah.
And, I remember doing that, making like mazes through. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Boxes are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go have fun with Jada and your kitty hotel. Thank you so much. I love talking to you so much.
It is awesome talking to you every week. It's just like, yes.
I know. I just needed to have a good reason or something because I felt like I was bothering you otherwise. I don't know. Okay, I'm so happy. Yay.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like this is the regular now. Like, it's like, I get to see Gavin. Or Kate. Oh, wait, she needs to show you one last thing.
Oh, I'm so excited I get to see something else.
Oh.
Oh. There's the kitty.
Ow.
Oh, what a sweet kitty. Oh, and there are even blankets in there. Oh, what a sweet kitty. And she's got a little bed in there. Hi, pretty kitty.
Milkshake. You know.
Hi, pretty kitty. Oh, she's so pretty. Is it a she?
It's a he.
Oh, it's a he. Oh, I've been calling Milkshake she. I'm sorry, Milkshake. Well, he is such a pretty kitty.
You gotta be careful with his. All right.
Oh, what a sweet kitty. Like, he's such a patient kitty. That's
really-
awesome.
That is
Thank
definitely.
you for showing me. That was so cool. I love
All right.
you.
Well, I will talk to you
I'll talk to you next week.
next week. Yeah.
Yes. You can always talk to me before then or text me.
Okay.
Have a Trisket.
Have a Trisket.
Tell your friends.
You should reach out to them. Say, I don't know. Can this be a thing? Let's collab.
Why not? Like, other people are making careers out of podcasting. You're like, why not me? I'm trying to approach the why not me instead of the it barely ever happens. You're like, no, why not me?
Yeah.
Trisket.
Trisket. All right. I'll talk to you
Okay.
next week.
I'll talk to you next week. Okay. I adore you and I love you. And I know I'm weird, but I mean that.
I love you too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I gotta find, okay. I'm gonna go now because I found the button.
Okay.
Bye. Oh, I lost, okay. Ta-da! I love Jenny so much. And I love all of you. I know that I might have differing perspectives on a lot of things, but I think that's a beautiful thing. And I love everyone. I love you. I love you. You're beautiful. I love you. I love you. You're awesome.